Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for experimental build 6 of update 114 of hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Ah, wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, this has been a big AI week. No, not that terrible AI that makes annoying derivative pictures of using content stolen from artists, but the fun kind of AI, game AI. And the big that I know a bunch of you have been asking for a while, as I've been working on night vision and such, being like, so Anton, it's cool we have night vision and stuff, but will this actually affect the SOSIGs? And I can excitedly say that yes, after this week it is. I spent a whole bunch of the week rebuilding a bunch of the SOSIG perception to actually be dependent upon illumination, which was quite difficult given the differences in the way that H3 scenes are built. Still super experimental, so let's play around with this. Let's take a look at what we have here. So the first demonstration we will do, we should make sure we have a demonstration termination piece of equipment here. Grab ourselves a scout. We are going to spawn a scout in guard mode activated on IFF1, meaning that if we were in a bright scene, the moment I spawn the SOSIG, he would start shooting at me. And we are not going to stand in the range of this spotlight here. We're going to stand out here in the dark like a creeper. And so that SOSIG is guarding here, but because this scene is almost pitch black, at this range, he cannot see me, even though I have glowing controllers.
I hope I get to play one of the bad Wieners next time.
Me too, buddy. But if I walk into the cone of this spotlight, he threw a nade at me! Oh good, it's just a smoke nade. Cool, and I move back out. So both SOSIGs and the players, AI entities, now have an internal loop where they're basically sampling the environment lighting and any properly registered dynamic lights. I say properly registered with an asterisk. I'll explain that later. But here, once again, I'll drop over into here. He starts shooting at me. Last place he sees me is there. And so if we carefully come here and not get inside the cone, but use just a little closer. There we go.
You know what they say? It's not the meat. It's
if we
the
grab the moment I spawn this glow stick.
What?
Yep, he can see me now. So here I'm wandering around with the glow stick. Yep. But if I move away from it, he can now not see me. I think I'm far. Yeah, I'm far enough away. And he returns to his guard post. We can do a similar thing here where I can grab this spawning panel. I can select a scout, put him on IFF2 guard pose, and put him, I don't know, here. Let's say. Oh, and he's actually close enough to the light. Barely close enough. Yup. He got found out. Cool, let's spawn him a little further away. Let's look away here. Put guard number 2 there. Oh, he saw me for a second.
What's that?
Cool. They cannot see each other, but if I can grab... Oh! Ha! He wandered into the spotlight! Oh no! Run! Run anywhere else!
Oh, goodness.
Oh. Good. Good job. Oh, almost.
Oh, goodness.
I'm gonna grab this and throw it next to him. Oh, he's following me into the dark. I love it.
I need to reload.
And so there you can see the sort of unidirectional vision. The one on the right can see the one on the left, but the one on the left cannot see the one on the right. He's He's dead. You can stop now. There we go. Nicely done, volunteer number 2. Thank you for your service. Let's clean those up. So, the next thing that is super cool that we can do is, and this is integrated into this same system, and note, this is still very experimental. I have not balanced this. I have no idea what the full impact to take and hold is going to be for this. But if we spawn ourselves a scout on our own IFF, guard activated. Oops, did not mean to spawn 2. Yonk. 0 IFF. So, this Sosig can see we're on the same team, so it isn't attacking me. If I pull out the flashlight, we have a new piece of functionality here that is super cool, that is based on a bunch of factors.
I'm just a meat and potatoes kind of meat.
On default brightness, I can light this Sosig up, but not necessarily blind it. If I'm going to turn this a little tighter so it's easier to demonstrate. If, however, I turn the intensity of this flashlight up a bunch and go like this, you'll notice that it blinds the Sosig for a couple seconds. There's some particle rendering lighting stuff that I need to fix. It's actually tied to some of the stuff I was working on last week. But now, that's right. You can now use a tactical flashlight on an appropriately bright setting, even at a decent distance, can blind a Sosig, but there's a bunch of asterisks next to it. This is a super dark scene, so even the flashlight on the lowest setting, up close like this, can trigger a blinding event. But whether a blinding event gets triggered or not is actually based not just on the absolute brightness of the flashlight, but the brightness of the flashlight relative to the scene around it. So a Sosig either in a super dark scene or a super dark part of a scene will get blinded significantly easier by a flashlight than a Sosig in a completely bright scene. And if the ambient light of a scene is above a certain threshold, you can't blind a Sosig with a flashlight at all. So hopefully that ends up being a sort of like interesting and dynamic combination of things. One thing that's important to note is because I've been working on these systems, they're not all online. And what I mean by that is that not every object has been migrated over to new flashlight technology yet. So under the attachments section, under lasers and lights, right now, as of the filming this devlog, the only thing that's been migrated over as a flashlight attachment that can blind is the default tactical flashlight here. I'm going to try to get 1 or 2 more migrated over before I actually push the update.
I could have ended up, and I'm here, probably about to get shot.
That would be a yes.
Don't mind me.
Comedy is timing, yada yada yada. So yeah, so basically just the tactical flashlight here has been migrated over. It's the one that's actually using our sort of new UI systems that are still kind of like janky. But this works. There we go, beautiful. And the one under here, just the handheld one under toys and tools. These 2 are the only ones that will blind right now. I will get the other ones migrated over once I've completely confirmed that all of these systems are working. The other thing that I wanted to show off that is super important is a number of folks have demonstrated that there are some culling issues related to scopes. Like if you tried to do this where you put like a 3x magnifier and then put a red dot and put them right, well, I mean even anywhere near each other, the red dot would not appear. That has been, did I put this on backwards? Yep, there we go. That has been fixed. Oh, I think we actually have an error here. Oh, that's interesting. The scope view is appearing and disappearing. I must be getting an error in my log. Wouldn't be a devlog without a bug. I will check out and see what is going on there once I'm done filming this. So yeah, so that is, as I said, that is the main thing for this week is our new sort of like light perceptibility things. So really what I would love you folks to do, those of you who are interested in night combat and things like that, is play around with this in the dark scenes, as I said, with the lights that have been migrated over. Play around if taken hold and like with the item spawner enabled, and specifically spawn this tactical flashlight here on your weapon, and just play around with it. I want to know if it's too powerful, if it's the right amount of powerful, if it's an interesting trade-off. Just give me your feedback, because obviously there's the functionality, but there's a lot of room to tune this from a like what is both balanced but also just like what's fun. And that's my biggest concern with it, as well as just making sure that it actually works. So yeah, I think that just about does it. Let's jump out of VR for a sec.
Yo! So, bug figured out. The reason that the scopes were not rendering there is I was having like error spamming into the console because there was like a missing component that the Sosig AI had needed, and it was just spamming errors every frame. That has been fixed. Actually ended up, because that was missing, figured out it was missing in a couple other scenes. Whoops! So that should, Sosig combat should now actually properly work in both of the Arizona ranges and both of the friendly 45 ranges. So yeah, let me just look at my change log here. Okay, so a couple things I want to talk about involving the night stuff. First off, for the flashlight blinding, do note that stacking multiple flashlights will not stack in terms of the effect on agents, and will just make your game run like garbage and glitch out the rendering. H3 is built on a very antiquated style of forward rendering. There is a fairly fixed limit on the total number of what are called pixel lights existing at the same time. One is always reserved for muzzle flashes, and one is typically present for the environment, which means that in general, you can't have more than two other real-time light sources. So you could have like a glow stick and a flashlight, and that is it. If more than that number of pixel lights covers any given renderer, it does what's called falling back to vertex lighting, which looks hideous. So please don't stack tons of lights on your gun. It won't work. It won't do anything beneficial. Just make the game look weird and run badly. Cool. Did that. Fix some like so friendly 45 and spooky 45 now actually correctly have nav mesh and the capability for agents to exist in it. What's weird is I thought I had done that ages ago, and either I hadn't or I hadn't saved the scene after making those changes, but that's now actually in there correctly. Other important things that I wanted to mention about Sosigs and light perception is that one of the other things, I added two other things, along with the fact that by default they perceive AI entities and the level of luminance of those entities, which is that some Sosigs have native night vision. So this is all of the all the Zosigs natively can see in the dark. In addition to that, equipment can impart night vision to a Sosig that wears it. So if you're a mod maker and you made any custom Sosig equipment that was like night vision goggles, there's now just a Boolean you need to go in and check in your Sosig wearable. Like once this actually goes out to main branch, do this. That basically is when that wearable gets registered on the given Sosig that's wearing it, they get night vision. And so all of the like super mean looking operator Sosigs all have night vision goggles, so they perceive things. They can see perfectly fine in the dark. So yeah. So as well as like the classic, some of the classic Sosigs could have goggles on. They also will see in the dark. Yeah. And let me just check. So there, we talked about the culling fix. There's been some fixes involving just the scopes. It's part of it's listed in the API changes that Ole put together. So we think most of the sort of glitchy behavior should be gone. Oh, the big one for this week is the fact that like there was the way scopes including night vision, were drawing. They were effectively drawing like somewhere between half of a frame rate and a frame rate in terms of the camera projection, because the way VR headsets work. That should all be fixed now. That's all been migrated to a different part of the frame. Hopefully that doesn't have a negative performance impact. If it does, I would really love to know. But it should mean that when you put on night vision, it's like 1-to-1 instantaneous and correct to your head pose in a way that it basically never was before. So yeah, and that fix has also improved the same thing for scopes. There used to be a little bit of, you might have noticed almost like a little bit of a wobble if you're moving your head rapidly for the scope view. It didn't seem quite in sync. That has now been fixed. So yeah. Cool. So that just about does it. Yeah, just give me feedback if you care for how these things end up working in relationship to night. And this next week, I'm basically just going to try to get the rest of the equipment migrated over to new systems. So I'm going to finish migrating all of the laser pointers. I'm going to get all the flashlights over, and then that will just be set and done. And then there's a couple other scenes that I need to do some things involving like being viewed correctly under thermals, some stuff involving night. I think I'd mentioned last week that like Meat Grinder doesn't look correct under night vision because it's not that Meat Grinder is dark, it's that it's literally impossibly black because of just the rendering style. So that needs to be changed. So it's just more interesting to do that. So cool. I think that just about does it for this week. I hope you found this all interesting, and I hope you look forward to being a creepy guy messing with Sosigs in the dark. And I will see y'all next week. Peace.